Hello, everyone. It's Anthony Bandiero here. Let's talk about Hot Pursuit. I'm broadcasting from our brand new studio. I hope you love it as much as I do. Richard, our marketing manager, says it may be a little too busy, especially compared to other, YouTube channels and podcasters. He's absolutely right. Very few people have the same busy background that I have, but I say I'd rather you look at the guns than me. The guns are really off the hook. I have some incredible firearms up there. Hopefully you enjoy them as much as I do. So let's push on. So this officer comes from Maple Grove, Minnesota. He also loves the channel. I appreciate that. I do this for you guys. So he says, what's the Fourth Amendment? How's the Fourth Amendment apply to canine tracking of an unidentified suspect who flees from the scene? And he's going to be a burglary suspect. You track him down, and he's on curtilage. Come to find out later that he actually has a privacy interest in that space because it's associated with him. It's his house, or it's his mother's house, and he has a key to the house, and he can claim some kind of privacy interest. What do we do there? All right. Well, look. Let's start with a few cases. A good go-to case where we're going to start with hot pursuit is Santana. Santana is from 1976. It talks about what hot pursuit is. It talks about where it begins, outside the home and all this kind of stuff. It does talk about Santana was a drug dealing suspect. The Supreme Court talked about hot pursuit was necessary in that case to prevent the destruction of evidence. Then let's fast forward a few decades and we go to Lange versus California. There, the U.S. Supreme Court said that a person fleeing from you is not automatically going to be exigency in every circumstance. It's a case-by-case analysis. That just makes sense. We do that with almost everything, right? Totality of the circumstances. So we know that just a misdemeanor, noise violation, guy flees into his house, that's hot pursuit, but it may not be a legit hot pursuit because there's no exigency there and so forth. Okay. Now let's go to our burglary suspect. Guys, burglary suspects are almost always going to be exigency. First of all, he's suspected of a crime of violence, right? And this is if you have PC. If you have reasonable suspicion, you got to be a little bit more careful. But you could also still have an obstruction issue because they're fleeing your detention. But as far as like hot pursuit, these are usually PC cases where we're chasing people into their home to make the arrest. But look, a burglary suspect is a crime of violence. I think very few courts are going to disagree with that. They're going to agree that there is going to be, a very important governmental interest in actually getting this person in custody right now. The other thing is oftentimes they don't run into their own house. They run into other people's houses. That again is automatic exigency. A person fleeing into the private areas of another person, their curtilage inside their home, that is a home invasion, right? We have to take care of business. We don't just walk away on those situations. We got to get that guy in custody before somebody has a violent confrontation and a homeowner gets hurt or the suspect potentially gets hurt, right? We want to try to make the scene safe and so forth. So that's a great case. I do want to say fresh pursuit is a little bit different the way I teach it. Hot pursuit, I like to say, is when you're hot on the suspect's tail, right? You're running after that person. That's what's probably happening here. Fresh pursuit is when you're hot on the suspect's trail, right? Or you're fresh on the suspect's trail. That's like the guy that commits an armed robbery at the convenience store, and you track him 45 minutes later down to at his house, right? You make entry, you get him into custody. Those cases are analyzed under fresh pursuit. But I do want to let you know that fresh pursuits, if you're going to enter, especially a home to get a suspect, their home, to get a suspect into custody, we are talking about very, very serious crimes. The armed robberies, the murders, the sexual assaults. A good case of that is People versus ESCUDERO, 1979. I believe from California, and they just talk about, hey, look, we don't enter people's homes for like minor crimes, even a felony. Bouncing a check in many states at a certain amount is going to be a felony. We're not kicking people's doors down, their door down with PC that they bounce a check, right? Even though it's a felony. We want those very serious crimes. And not only that, but usually there's also another exigent circumstances attached to that, right? So the burglary suspects, the rape suspects, they have evidence they can destroy. They can fortify the position. They can ambush us. They can continue to escape. You get my point, right? So you still want that. Usually there's exigency with those cases. That's why the serious cases, usually exigency comes with it, but we want that. Okay? All right, there's your answer. I hope that you love what we do over at Blue to Gold. If you do, please smash the like button. It just sends a little heart emoji back to us saying that you like what we're doing around here. Share us with your friends at the PD. Subscribe to our webinars too. We do those every single week. Go to bluetogold.com. They're free. People love them. They're about an hour long or so, and you get more education. You can ask any question you want live on the webinar as well. All right? Okay. Until next time, my friends, you stay safe.